You are hopefully not getting too sleepy. It's the return of Pendulum Wednesday with the man who knows. I've spoken much about how the pendulum always speaks the truth as it actually connects yourself with your subconscious and even your emotional mind. But can it ever lie to you? By the way, if you're entertained by the things that I have to say and the stories that I tell here on this channel, why not subscribe and please share it with a friend? I do appreciate that. And we don't do the usual stuff here, but we do it so well. These are my real life stories of the impossible. Today is Pendulum Wednesday, which means that we're going to discuss just a little tiny smidgen about the pendulum, just because, just to refresh our memory. Last week, we skipped Pendulum Wednesday, and so I figure I would just touch base with you guys a little bit. Considering that the pendulum is the foundation upon which the polygraph was built, I think that it would be very hard for the pendulum to actually lie to you. It would be going against its own natural tendency to tell the truth. And therefore, it is something to kind of consider with regards to how you might be able to use something as simple as just a chain or a string with a little weight on the very end. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be fancy. But if you want, you can go out to your local spiritualist bookstore, spiritual bookstore, metaphysical bookstore, and they probably have like a little rack filled with all kinds of fun quartz crystals hanging from chains that you can dangle and see if you can connect with them. So essentially you want to calibrate yourself with the yes and no response. So your neuromuscular movements will automatically tell you whether or not it's saying yes or whether or not it's saying no. Now notice that I am actually holding it with my left hand this time, which is supposed to be my subconscious or psychic hand. But it really works with either hand. It doesn't matter, because ultimately you're dealing with the sacred geometry of whether or not the thing is moving in a line or whether or not it moves in a circle. There we go. And so when you concentrate on circle, or even if you concentrate on like shaking your head and saying no, you'll notice that it might move in a circular pattern. And those are the two different patterns that a pendulum can move in, either a circle or a line. It could be counterclockwise or clockwise circle, or it could be forward or sideways line. However, it's only going to work in either of those things, and ultimately the goal is for it to tell you the truth. So remember a couple of weeks ago when I asked it the question of whether or not I would receive more work before the end of February, and it actually responded yes. Well, I was curious as to whether or not that would actually work, and guess what? Quite an abundant amount of work came in for me between February and March, and so I'm actually quite gratified by how well the pendulum was actually able to answer my question. Earlier today, I asked it a question, and I was kind of sad by the answer that it gave me, because this was one of those answers that it didn't work out the way I wanted to. I've been performing at a club down in Washington, D.C. called Madams, Oregon, and being a performer there, I'm literally around, hundreds and hundreds of people very close in and stuff like that. And I've been vaccinated and I've been boosted, and I even got COVID at the very beginning of the year. So I'm very, very immune right now. But I asked my pendulum if I can go and visit my mother. And whether it be the pendulum or my subconscious, it answered to me in the negative. I actually got a no from my pendulum. So that was kind of a sad moment for me, because I realized just in frustration that it's still not safe to go and visit, some of the elderly out there. And so that was my revelation for today for me. Next week, I actually have a fun little exercise for you guys. So feel free to, did I just say use guys? That's the Baltimore in me coming out. So, so anyway, I have a really fun demonstration for all of you that are interested in participating in this. So grab yourself, a chain or a string, and then tie it to something really fun that kind of gives it a little bit of weight. And then come back to me next week, and I promise to share with you something really interesting. Hope you guys had fun today on Pendulum Wednesday. I'm Alain, the man who knows, signing off for you right now. And if, by the way, if you're interested in subscribing to my newsletter, all you need to do is go to my website at themanwhoknows.tv, and you get a free gift. So anyway, I will speak to you guys very, very soon.